Alright students, today we're going through a case study of AS Economics October-November 2024 Paper 2 on Nigeria's economy. It mainly focuses on how Nigeria depends on oil and gas, the issues that come from that, and what kind of policies the government can use to solve these problems. Now obviously we can't read the full case here, you guys can read that in your own time, but I'll quickly tell you the most important points from the case that you need to keep in mind while answering the questions. So first of all, Nigeria is the biggest oil exporter in Africa and oil makes up around 80% of its export revenue. That's a huge reliance on just one sector. The economy is really vulnerable because whenever oil prices fall globally, Nigeria's income drops sharply. For example, during COVID-19, they went into a recession. Poverty and unemployment are serious problems. Around 40% of people live in poverty and another 25% are at risk. Unemployment rose to 9% in 2020. The government is also facing a lot of fiscal pressure. In 2016, their budget deficit was 3.9% of GDP, and by 2020 it got worse, reaching 5.2%. About half of government spending is now used just to pay off debts. Inflation also became a problem. The government removed fuel subsidies and at the same time, food prices went up. This led to inflation hitting 12.8% in 2020. On the policy side, Nigeria increased VAT to 7.5% to raise revenue, but it didn't work as well as expected. There's also talk about trying to diversify the economy into sectors like manufacturing, similar to what countries like Malaysia or Indonesia did. Now let's look at how to answer the questions that come from this case. The first question asks you to compare Nigeria's budget balance in 2016 and 2020. This is a 2-mark question, so keep it short and clear. In 2016, the budget deficit was 3.9% of GDP. In 2020, it increased to 5.2%. You should mention both numbers and point out that the deficit worsened over time. That's it. That will give you full marks. Next is a 2-mark question where you need to draw a PPC diagram to show the effect of rising unemployment. Since unemployment means some resources, like labor, are not being used, the economy will be producing inside the PPC instead of on it. So draw your PPC, label the axes, like consumer goods and capital goods, and show a point inside the curve instead of on it. That will get you the marks. The third question is about how removing fuel subsidies might affect inflation. This is a 4-mark question. When subsidies are removed, fuel prices go up. Fuel is used in transportation and production, so higher fuel prices increase the cost of many other goods and services. This leads to cost-push inflation. But the actual impact depends on things like how elastic demand is. If fuel demand is elastic, the effect might not be that big. So your answer should explain the chain of cause and effect, and then end with a short evaluation, like saying the impact depends on other factors. The fourth question asks about supply-side policies that can help Nigeria diversify its economy. This is a 6-mark question, so you need to explain a couple of policies and then evaluate them. You could talk about improving education and training to make workers more skilled, or investing in infrastructure like roads and ports to help manufacturing. You should also explain that these policies take time and cost a lot, which is a problem for Nigeria because of the debt. You can also mention that trade policies might help in the short term. So, explain 2 policies well and then evaluate their effectiveness to get full marks. The last question is about whether direct or indirect taxes are better for raising revenue. This is also for 6 marks. Direct taxes like income tax are more fair and progressive, but in Nigeria's case, they're hard to collect because a lot of people work in the informal sector. Indirect taxes like VAT are easier to collect but they're regressive, meaning they hit poorer people harder. Your answer should explain both, and then evaluate which one is better for Nigeria right now. For example, you could say VAT is more effective in the short term, but improving the tax system for direct taxes would help in the long run. When you're answering case study questions like this, always start by identifying the key themes, like oil dependence, inflation, and fiscal issues. Use the data from the case wherever possible, especially in short questions. Structure your answers clearly, make your point, explain it, and give a short evaluation if the question needs it. For longer questions, aim to write 2 good points and 2 evaluations. That's how you break down a case study like this in the exam. I hope now you guys have a clear idea, so let's meet in the next video. Till then, take care.